Hi everyone. So a viewer wrote to me and said recently that she thought that I should do a pick a card reading, and I vaguely knew what she meant. I had never watched one before, but I had seen it, in scrolling on YouTube. I had seen people who were doing this, and it never really made much of an impression on me. So I checked out somebody's just to get a feel for it. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out how to do it, but I just wanted to make sure that I was kind of on the same page with what most people are used to seeing. And I want to thank that person. I don't know their name. There's so many, I get a lot of comments, so it's hard to kind of pinpoint it, but thank you for that idea. And I'm going to do this. So I have 4 piles here. And this is for the week of April 1st through the 6th, the first week of the month of April, 2019, obviously. And I have 4 cards in each pile. The first, the top 2 are tarot cards, and one is from the Morgan Greer deck, the one with the stars here, and then the one below it, the black and white background, that's the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. Why am I using 2 different decks? Well, this is just in terms of statistical odds. It's kind of interesting to use more than one deck in a reading, just to give it an extra kind of set of possibilities. And then I have a card from the Native Spirit deck that I own. So I'm not going to read verbatim from the book. I'm just going to put my own spin on things. And then I have a card from the, I think it's called Whispers of Love, and they have messages on each card, so I can just read it from there. So I want you to be intentional when you think of which number to pick, 1 through 4. And do so, what is the thing that calls to you? For some people, a number may come to them right away, but for other people, you may need to think about it for a second. And so I'm going to give everybody a second to decide, and then I'm going to start with the first pile. Okay, so if you pick number 1, let's look at the cards that we have here. First, I'm going to do the Whispers of Love card. Love makes a difference. Love can heal past hurts and provide a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. And I think the artwork is very beautiful. One thing that I wanted to kind of call attention to is how the cards connect with one another, because for the Native Spirit deck, I got Full Moon Completion. And this, when there is a full moon, there can be a time of great emotional, I don't know if I'd say upheaval, but it can be a time where things come to the surface and you're made aware of something. And we just recently have been dealing with that supermoon in Libra at the time of the equinox. And you may still be feeling that. You may still be feeling the winds of change. And yet, it's a very interesting time because it was a full moon, but it was at 0 degrees of Libra. So where does that fall astrologically for you? And it was in Libra, and this says love makes the difference. So Libra is about love, and sometimes the realizations can be a little bit painful if you have finally come to the conclusion that a relationship that you have put a lot of time and energy into seems to be not worth it, not giving you what you feel that you deserve. Then that can be quite disheartening. And one of the things that I always recommend is that people not try to sugarcoat things, because by really absorbing that kind of pain and that realization, you can actually heal yourself a lot sooner and a lot more thoroughly, in my opinion, than when you distract yourself and don't really fully accept it. It can keep people stuck much longer in a negative situation. So the next card, one of the tarot cards, is the Hermit. Again, this goes along very nicely with the full moon card because there's a heightened psychic nature at the time of the full moon, and the Hermit is about going within. It's not a time, it's not a social kind of an energy. The Hermit card connects to Virgo, and we had a supermoon in February in Virgo. So this could even be like the time span of February 19th to March 20th. If there was a significant development in your life. And what does that mean? This can also be that you are starting to really tune into yourself more. Maybe you've had a pattern of getting other people's opinions on things, of doing a lot of social things, and you realize the value in being alone. The Hermit is alone. I mean, that's synonymous with somebody who is alone. And yet, is being alone bad? Sometimes people would say yes, because we're kind of indoctrinated, aren't we, to be social all the time? And nobody is demonizing being sociable, but 100% of the time, I don't think so. I think that this is one of the reasons why people do not spiritually progress, because they're too involved in the outer world. And so in this first week, you may not feel like doing what you normally do. And that's okay, even though it's the beginning of a month. One thing that I want to say before I continue is that if you pick the number 1, that you're resonating with doing something, of starting something. In the Tarot, the Magician card is number 1. And the Magician is about self-empowerment and about taking the initiative in something. But doesn't it seem a little bit unusual to get the Hermit card in conjunction with the number 1? No, not at all, because it's realizing, the Hermit is about you relying on yourself, tuning into yourself, I should say. And the Magician is about relying on yourself and being able to be resourceful wherever you're at. And perhaps you've gotten into a pattern of being dependent, and you're realizing that only you can solve the problems that you have, that other people can listen to you and things like that, but only you know what you need to do in a given situation. And again, I mentioned the number 1, and I got the full moon. Aren't full moons times of endings? Not necessarily. First of all, this full moon that just occurred was at 0 degrees, so it's almost like a new moon in that sense. 0 being that unknown element that we have no idea what is going to transpire, but we have high expectations for it. And so it's like you're taking action, but you're taking it from a position of, this is what I need. This has nothing to do with somebody else. This is all about me and what my needs are. And then I got, from the other deck, the 4 of Wands. This is a card of a happy marriage, a new home. And this is a card that is about family, but it's coming from the Wands perspective. So it's not just looking at family as something that is a practical endeavor, but something that you really want. So maybe this has been on your mind. I'm going to go back to that card if there's any kind of love issues. And by the way, this, very interestingly, this card for the romance, the Whispers of Love, was number 31. And March 31st is the day before this reading begins. So love can help heal past hurts and provide a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. And with the Four of Wands, we're talking about marriage and that sense of family. But it's not something that you are leery of, that makes you feel like you're going to be imprisoned in some obligation. The Wands connect with fire energy, and they're all about freedom. So there is freedom within marriage, and when I say marriage, I'm also talking about any type of domestic partnership where both people are committed to one another. And within family itself, if you're raising a family, it's not a sentence for you to feel like you can't be who you are, be who you came here to be. You can, if you are willing to choose wisely and if you let the other person know who you are. And that's what it's all about. It's not about, and I think with the Hermit card, it's very important to know who you are. And I feel the only way you can do that is by spending a good amount of time by yourself, because you get away from other people trying to impose their opinions on you, and you learn what you want. And this is obviously just my opinion, but I wanted to share that with you because I feel that too often people, by default will always be social because they feel like that is where they get to define themselves. And I'm like, no. To me, it's the exact opposite. And then when we come to be with others, we're coming from a very clear perspective that is unique. And we can share our unique perspective. We're not trying to imitate somebody else. We really have our own opinions and way of living, and it's authentic. Okay, number one, that's what I have for you. Number two. Whispers of Love card. It says, you are limitless. Recognize this truth. You can do anything you choose to do. Oh, wow. I love unicorns. This is such a beautiful card. I love that. I think there's even like, oh, there's a peacock in her hair. As her hair. So beautiful. So, well, I'm just going to continue. Childhood, innocence. Okay. And here we have the rainbow, and I think that, I don't know if there was a rainbow in the first one. But anyway, connecting those two cards. When you were a child, you had dreams. If you're somebody who has been feeling like you don't have a sense of purpose or a sense of direction, one of the first things that I would recommend is spending some time alone and figuring out, or actually recalling things that you would do as a child that made your heart sing. And I mean, it could be as simple as that you loved drawing or anything, art related, or you loved sports. It could be anything. And there has to be some kind of grown-up version of that really utilizes your talents that you could put into motion. And a lot of times, talking about childhood and innocence, a lot of innocence is destroyed when children aren't allowed to be children. When they, especially it seems like nowadays, when children are pushed to be high achieving and they're not allowed to just explore, they're not allowed to play. That's what play is about. It's not just meaningless. And so, you know, this sounds a little bit strange, but I would suggest as practical advice to play like a child. In other words, to allow time to just enjoy things that we call hobbies without any agenda attached to it, without having to be good at it or having to accomplish anything or make money from it. And you will find, if you're somebody who feels like you have no idea what you want to do with your life, and you might be 40 years old and feeling like this, it's not just for people in their 20s. And really to tap into that inner child and the innocence that we all have that allows us to believe that that life is beautiful, that there is good things to look forward to in life. You know, when you get to be a certain age, and it's usually around the age of 40, and even if you've had success career-wise, you may start to notice or sense that, oh my God, I think that it's only downhill from here, right? Because there are certain markers. Now, it may not be, it depends on whatever career you're into, but there may be multiple factors. Not because you're doing your job in a less than decent manner, but you realize that age in some cases is a liability. Maybe it's just because you have too much seniority and you're making too much money for the company, or costing too much money. So the point is that it can lead people to think that there is some peak and then they're going downhill. And this is something that you have to understand is the world. This is not reality. Innocence is to me a spiritual trait, and realizing that there are no limits. You never know what is going to happen in the future. You can't base everything on this moment. And having that hopefulness that children have is not foolish. It's actually quite wise. Because, if you believe in the law of attraction as I do, then you believe that you're generating positivity and that you will see it around you. Okay. I got the Son of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords. And this is a card, sometimes this card can be about a brash, bold individual who may be in your life in some capacity. Maybe this is even your adult child that is... this person to me is challenging you in some way, but it's not necessarily bad. They may be vocalizing something that you have refused to listen to, and now you must for some reason. This is a card of lawyers. So if you've ever wanted to be a lawyer, maybe that's talking about that. But this could be a love interest. You picked the number 2. So this week, the first week in April, for whatever reason, you are vibrating with the idea of partnership. It's not about you doing something alone, but maybe you are wanting to connect with somebody. And it doesn't have to be romantically. This could be in any capacity. The Son of Swords is Knight of Swords. And as advice, I think that it is saying that you have to speak your truth and let the chips fall where they may. Now, this individual, if this is somebody else, tends to be quite outspoken. And sometimes I think they ruffle people's feathers because they are quite blunt. But they're very passionate. This is fire and air energy. Very passionate about their beliefs, and they don't care who knows it. So what I would recommend is that if you feel like there is something that you're meant to do and you have been avoiding doing it because of the fear that other people will disapprove, that you realize that if you don't do something that you want to do, you are going to very likely make other people unhappy, if for no other reason that you're going to be unhappy yourself. And I realize that we don't make another person feel something, but we can certainly poison the atmosphere if we are not feeling like we're doing what we want. If we're resentful about our life, how can we be happy for other people's successes? There will tend to be passive-aggressive things going on. So I can't stress enough how important it is to follow your dreams. It doesn't mean that you're just quitting everything and just jumping right in. It might be that you're doing a little bit each day and you're not upsetting your life much at all. And to me, that's a much more balanced approach. Then we have here the Two of Pentacles. So we did get the number 2 with the number 2 choice. The Two of Pentacles can be a job offer that is coming. It may be something that you're very torn between because it may be far away. It could be over body of water, this job offer. And so if that were the case, even if it's a great opportunity, if it's far away, you may say, but I'm going to leave people that I love. And if the fact that you chose this number 2 is because a relationship, a particular relationship, especially maybe a romantic one, has been on your mind and you're afraid of losing that person, remember that there is no time and space when it comes to love. That it's always available for you. Just like when somebody passes away. Is there any kind, if somebody that you really love passes away, do you feel like they have stopped loving you or that you have stopped loving them? So, I mean, that is just absurd. So, understand that in the context of what's going on here. Maybe you would be separated from someone, but would it be forever? And is there a positive side of this? Or, I was going to say, is there a positive side of the separation? The separation may make you realize even more so that you want to be with this person forever. And if this is a current spouse, that person possibly could come and join you. It's not like everything is black and white. There might be some ways that you're able to get around this. The Two of Pentacles can also be that you are, excuse me, I don't know, spreading yourself thin, that you have a lot going on, and it's possible that it's affecting a relationship, and you need to make some time for that relationship and not just take it for granted. So you are beginning the month with a possible decision that you have to make and a relationship-focused week. Now on to number 3. The Whisper of Love card is saying, receive with love and appreciation. Receiving something lovingly from others is a way of showing love. How true is that? I'm sure that there are many of us out here who have had trouble receiving a gift, having somebody buy you dinner. It feels uncomfortable in some cases, and this may be something that you were taught when you were young. So allowing somebody to do something nice for you and not feeling guilty about it or afraid that it means something drastic is such a great habit to cultivate. We have the card River from the Native Spirit deck, meaning movement. So maybe now this is when your life is starting to really take off in April. And this is nice to get this card at the beginning of the month because it's like starting off the month with a bang. You chose number 3. So we are in a 3 universal year. And the number 3 is a number of abundance, of creative juices flowing, and it is also the number of collaboration. So for people that work with others, this can be a week of great progress and maybe a lot of just creativity coming in, not a lot of blockages. If you work for yourself, same deal. This may be a time when you are starting some kind of exercise routine where you are, especially if you've been in the Northern Hemisphere where it was very cold. Or I guess even down under, it might have been so hot that you were like, I can't exert myself. I guess it could be either extreme. And now you feel like you just want to move, like you can't sit still. And this may be because there is so much energy available at this time, since this is a cardinal period of time in the sign of Aries. And cardinal signs, which represent the 4 seasons. So we have Aries, then we have Cancer, then we have Capricorn and Libra. I got those two transposed. So the 4 seasons, the 4 cardinal signs, these are the signs that believe in doing. And they're all about taking action. But in this case, in some cases, you may be told with an astrological reading or a tarot reading that, oh yeah, go for it, take charge. And yet you don't feel like it. You feel lethargic. You feel unsure of yourself. And so this is one of the reasons why I always say that predictive astrology or the tarot can only go so far. It also is the individual and how they are personally handling their life at that time. At best, some of these transits or these predictions can tell us that there's fertile ground, and I would say for you, especially with the number 3, fertile ground, or you could say movement here, that there's a lot going on. But for you personally, as an individual soul who is traveling this path, if you don't feel intuitively aligned with what you're hearing, you have to go with what's best for you. And that's always going to serve you more than anything else, your intuitive inner self as a guide. One of the tarot cards, the 8 of Pentacles. This is a card of learning a craft and learning it well and doing a good job and working hard. Okay, so again, with the movement card, that sense of momentum, that sense of like, I'm really on a roll. I want to produce. I want to see results. This may be something that is really a part of you right now. And the 8 of, I love this depiction of the spider web in the Wild Unknown Tarot, because you think about the spider and how intricate the designs are and how painstaking it is. And this is a card of doing a good job. But you're doing a good job for the sake of it, not because you're afraid of getting fired or anything like that that is coming from the outside, but from an inner sense of pride and dedication to your handiwork. And sometimes this card indicates that you need training to get what you want. And you may be on a roll right now, but you may also realize that because number 3 is about expansion, so you may realize that in order to truly expand and have, to maximize your options, that you need to be able to be as qualified as possible for whatever it is that you do. And then, oh, perfect. I love this. The last card I got was the 8 of Wands. This is a card of fast-paced developments. Very much like that movement. It is about movement. The 8 of Wands. And to me, how I picture it in my mind's eye is what they call in physics, I think it's physics, potential energy. I may give the illusion of knowing what I'm talking about, but it's basically when something is pent up, and then when it's released, it's like all systems are go. So kind of like when you pull the bow of an arrow back and that arrow is just really tightly wound inside thing, and when you release, it has all of that momentum from all of that being tightly wound up. And this may have been because of the Mercury retrograde, where you felt like your hands were tied, or something else that was just going on in your life that was kind of like keeping you from being able to take action in some way. And now it's just all flowing really nicely, but it could be very fast-paced. And depending on the type of personality you are, there are some people that don't really like that type of environment or, circumstance where things are happening very quickly, or like fast-paced, because they are very cautious and they don't want to have to make snap decisions. And so I'm talking to you, Taurians and Cancer folks, maybe even an occasional Virgo person. You may want to weigh your options. You don't want to have to think on your feet, so to speak. But this is a time of, as much as it can be a very heady time, there can be opportunities for you. Maybe you have felt like you've been waiting, and you've been waiting for your ship to come in. I don't know if you noticed, but both of the tarot cards I picked were number 8. And that to me is significant because the number 8 is the number of success. I just wanted to see something just for the heck of it. Yeah, the card, the romance card was 34, and that adds up to 7, so I can't make a claim for that one. But in any case, this can just simply be that you're finally seeing your life starting to pick up steam, and that can be very exciting. And with the number 3, that sense of expansion, of not feeling the limitations. And then, I kind of like jumped the gun here with number 4. This is for number 4. Do something for someone else. Give your attention to someone else. And I just want to add to that, especially if you feel that you do not have what you want in your romantic life, or your, just even if you have been wanting to have friends. If you can do something that is kind. Maybe it's volunteer at an animal shelter. It doesn't even have to be with human beings. I really believe that love will come back to you tenfold. You know, I mean, but the thing is, this is kind of tricky because some people give to get, and that's totally not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that you're giving love from a place of wealth. It's kind of like when people don't feel, maybe that's why when people are very critical and they don't give compliments, they're very like miserly when it comes to compliments, stingy. And there are some people that you meet and they're always praising you, and not so they can butter you up, but they really appreciate you. Those people are coming from an endless supply of well wishes. And that's because they feel fulfilled within themselves. So they don't have to hold on to compliments because they haven't received them. They're only so happy to give them to others because it's like they're giving them to themselves. And I think that's the important thing. When you can give to others, when there's a generosity of spirit, then I believe that it will come back to you. And it's not calculated. It's something that you naturally possess. From the Native Spirit card, we have strength. And this is the strength to, I want to, point out the mountain, the fact that this is mountain. This number that you picked was number 4. 4 is number of foundations. And so as the month begins, you may be in a very practical mindset. Perhaps you want to create order from your environment, but even more so, stability. I think that the number 6 might be more about order, but I could see the number 4 as well. But you want that sort of stability. You don't want, maybe you've had situations where your life has felt in the past a bit touch and go. It may be a bit chaotic. And you're looking for some sort of, I was going to say, the word rock came into my mind, and I was thinking, well, you're looking for a rock? You're looking for, whether it's a person, place, or thing, you're looking for something that you can count on in life. And, if it's a person, if you've been betrayed by people or they flaked out, especially, and you feel like you have to just hang in there, with the strength card. And this is not obviously the tarot, that strength card, but the same principle can apply. And maybe this is even literally rock climbing, whether it's on a mountain or whether it's doing it in those indoors types of environment as a form of exercise. But making order out of your life. How can you do that better? Because that will strengthen your life. When you have a sense of, how I would say, discipline and order in your life, and that's how you set your foundation, is by having that consistency. Then you can build upon that. Okay, from the Wild Unknown Tarot, we have Father of Cups. This is a card that's associated with older, or let's just say more mature, water sign male. This could be your father, if he is the type of father who is nurturing towards you. This could be a religious leader that you look to for guidance. And this can even be somebody that you are interested in, or somebody who is featured in your life at this time as the month of April begins. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So if any of these people If there's anybody of that sign, it doesn't necessarily have to be the sun sign. Sometimes when you have the moon or even rising sign in a particular element or sign, it can totally come to the forefront, and somebody that doesn't know what a person's sign is may assume that is that they are a water sign when their sun sign is actually Virgo, something very nondescript like that, because the water, the caring part of the person is really showcased. And maybe talking about you needing somebody like this, like a counselor in your life. If you have felt like you're just hanging on by a thread, that you've been trying to be strong, but you have a very daunting situation that is going on. And certainly some people have been dealing with some stuff. I know I'm not the only one that has commented. I saw another reader the other day saying, wow, this has been, they said March had been intense, but I would dare say that since the beginning of this year. That was not my expectation going into this year. And it is what it is, you see. I mean, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about predictions. We can look at things and they can, I can be an astrologer and look at things on paper and say, oh gosh, this is going to be this way, and it turns out different than I thought. Oh well, what can I do about that? I can only accept what is. And the Lover's card. So maybe this Father of Cups is the one, is the person you've been waiting for. And when we talk about waiting, you may not be a spring chicken. Maybe you're finding love later in life. The Lover's card connects to Gemini. The Lover's card can be about a choice that has to be made. But regardless of what the Lover's card means to you, the bottom line is that you may have had love experiences where it was all about the physical attraction, or it was the fact that you were raising a family and that just totally took your mind away from other things. And eventually the relationship didn't last because there wasn't that cement, the children didn't remain small forever. So we have different seasons of life. And you may find that what you're looking for now is not what you were before. So let me go back to what I said about a rock. Maybe what you thought you wanted, that flashy, sexy person, is not that appealing to you anymore based upon what you have experienced. And maybe now you're looking for something much more stable. So the number 4 can be about stability. And if this is something career related, you may feel like, in some cases, perhaps you've sacrificed in the name of stability and you're not happy with your choice now. And you have to make a new choice. So honor yourself. Really want or believe that you are deserving of happiness. And I think that you will be just fine. Okay, well, this is the first weekly pick a card reading that I've done, and this has been a lot of fun. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.